Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Daniel. Let's start with the new arrival then, Joshua Giavogi. What's he going to bring to your Leeds United side?
Yes, first of all, we are all pretty happy and pleased that it was possible to bring him in. I spoke about the profile I wanted with the new signing in October. It's always a bit complicated, but yes, Josh brings first of all quality, also like on the positions where we need him. Naturally, holding midfielder, pretty physical player who is also pretty concentrated with good defensive skills. Who has also played a lot in the centre back role. He also adds a bit experience to our side. We can definitely do a bit with experience in the dressing room. Yes, further on. Also a guy who 100% understands his role, and also for that he was not training in the last weeks and months with the team, but also in a good fitness shape, and he was also totally convinced of overtaking this role more like as an emergency case. He also spoke quite open and honest about what we want to see, and that he also should be a bit like a mentor for the younger players, and also helps to develop our younger players and gives also us some cover if perhaps a young player is not prepared or perhaps struggling a bit with the pressure. This is definitely a guy who won't crack under pressure, even not in an away stadium in front of 30,000 away fans. And in addition to that, he's an unbelievable guy. So everyone who has worked with him was full of praise for his character, and also in the first days together with us, you could realize what a great guy he is. He was more or less captain for each and every team where he's played. That says normally already enough about his character, and also for our squad, he speaks. Not sure how many languages he speaks. So he speaks with Mateo Spanish. He's obviously German, also possible for him. With Ilan French, obviously English. His English is very well, and he even seems to understand Henry McStay, our Irish guy in the medical department. So pretty impressed. And great guy and great addition for our squad.
Is he eligible to play tomorrow? And fitness-wise, how close is he to being able to start a game for you if needed?
Yes, he's available and eligible to play. Obviously, once you have not trained for several months also with the team, then of course you can't be there with 100%, but also he's an experienced guy and very professional guy, and has worked a lot on his fitness level. He's also since a few days already with us and has already also training with the ball and also team trainer to bring a player in, because obviously out of the obvious reasons that player has not played and trained with the team for several weeks and several months, and then more or less normally it lasts also a few weeks till the player is in there with 100%, and then it's already January, and normally you can wait then also for January, and sometimes it could also be a bit tricky, whatever, due to character reasons or other reasons sometimes, but sadly we had the situation with many injuries, and for that I think it's one of our professional duties, not like not to be open for plan B, or to be flexible to adapt to the situation. If you're not flexible in this job, in this business, you become a dinosaur, and that's not a great idea. So you have to be open, and this is what we were, but we also wanted to make sure that we don't have a panic buy, so it should have been a solution that fits, and that was also the reason it lasted a bit longer. Because we didn't want to waste some money and also not to spend a fortune, so we can't afford this, because we also want to lead this club sustainable. And for that, we had to be patient to find the right option, the right guy. And we are all 100% convinced that with Joshua, we find the right option. It's not important for us right now that he plays many minutes. It's just important that he's there, that he is there as an additional option, and fingers crossed that we'll go on without injuries and perhaps without even worse situation, especially on his positions. But to bring him in, I think it was necessary also for the whole mood, for the quality in training, also just for the pure numbers. But it's not just about numbers. The numbers have to be quality players, and we found all this in Joshua, and we're all happy that we have him.
So final one on him then. Why do you think he's not been snapped up by anybody else?
Well, yes, first of all, also a proper CV. And like I mentioned, this is always a bit the question. There is always something with a player once he's not under contract in October. And the only thing you could speak about is, perhaps his age. Yeah, he's 34, and normally you're a bit reluctant as a new club also to sign a player in this age. But the other reason is also like he's a pretty pro player. I think there were many offers for him also with the past, but yeah, he could also afford to be pretty picky. This is a player who has played more than 200 games on Bundesliga level. He has played more than 100 games in Ligue 1 in France on the top level. He has played 7 times, I think, for France under Didier Deschamps. In a time when France was more or less dominating European football. So you don't win this in the lottery. You have to be a really, really decent player. If you manage to have 7 caps for France, there was whatever 40 games, more than 40 games in Europe, in the Champions League and the Europa League. So a very experienced player, and that he doesn't overtake a new challenge somewhere else in a lower tier. I think this is just his mentality. He's also a proud player, and he says, so no, either I work for a club where I'm 100% convinced of that this is really a challenge for myself, and I see this as a mission and as a project. I think he was pretty picky. For him, it was not just like, okay, I want to earn some money somewhere else, perhaps also in a league that is not that on the top level like the Championship is, and I think he was excited by our prospect and also by the prospect of Leeds United. He knows this club obviously also pretty well, and it's also like in France or in Germany where he played in the last years, also massive club there. And I think this package has attracted him, and then our conversations, it was more or less like both sides had to be convinced, and he is convinced as well.
Thank you. Laji Ramazani, how is he?
Yeah, sadly bad news with him. He obviously twisted his ankle in the last game, and we've assessed him. Sadly, it's a serious ligament injury. Thank God he doesn't need the surgery, but he will be out for 4 to 6 weeks. So best case scenario, in the end of November, he will be back, but could also last till December. Depends a bit on how the rehab works. But he will be out for 4 to 6 weeks.
Which is a shame. With that in mind then, is Dan James ready to start games for you now?
Yes, we will see. So thank God we've got Daniel James back and also Mano Solomon. Obviously they were both out for a few weeks. It lasts then a little bit till they are back there with 100%, but it's at least good to have them also as cover, as options. We also have Geoffrey Gellert for the offensive positions as well. So we have a few options. Good that I still have the chance to pick one.
Last one from me. Junior Firpo suspended tomorrow. So what direction are you minded to look in to replace him?
Yes, I never speak too much about the starting lineup before the game, because my players should be the first to experience who is playing. We have obviously more or less 2 natural options there with Sam Byram and also Isaac Schmidt. We have also another training session this afternoon, but it's pretty likely that one of them will replace Junior.
Okay. Do they offer very different things? Is Byram more defensively minded, perhaps, or? I don't know, is Schmidt ready to start for you? Yes, they are obviously a bit different. Sam, the experienced option, who has played so many games also on Championship level and was also excellent whenever we needed him. Isaac, more or less a new signing with some new energy. Sam obviously also like in terms of physicality, heading, experience. Also, he has played pretty often like in a central defensive role. Perhaps also a bit more versatile in these topics, and Isaac has started his career even as a winger, so he's pretty offensive minded. Of course, a bit different profile, but they both can also do both. So Sam was also crucial in attacking, especially in the last season, and Isaac has also defended also for his old club a lot. So we will see who plays. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Hi, Daniel, you're right.
Yes.
Can I just ask, is there any other injuries at all? And can we have any more timescales on the three that are out? Max Verber, Ampadu, and in particular Ilya Gruev. I know obviously that that two are longer term ones, but is there you any closer with timescales for those now? Or?
No, it's difficult. We spoke about the timescale for Eason. Normally, you would say with such an injury, he's there with 8 to 10 weeks. Yeah, if he comes back, perhaps even slightly earlier. Yeah, of course, I'm hoping for this because he was physically in a really good condition, and perhaps there's a chance to bring him back even a bit earlier. Normally, it would be just realistic to speak about to have him available for January, but if he can already return during December, would be a nice little surprise. But it's too soon to judge this because he's on a good path in his rehab. But you never know. There could be also sometimes a setback, and it could be even longer. So for that, we will see. The same with Ilya Gruev. He will definitely not come back during this calendar year. We also spoke about that normally with such an injury, you're out for 4 months or something like this. We will see. So it's also too early to judge, depending on the rehab process, but definitely not. He won't come back in 2024. Yes, Max Verber, I mentioned this. He's a bit ahead of schedule. There's a chance that he could join us also in team training at some point already next week, and then we'll see if he's then perhaps already available before the international break. Would be also a nice little surprise, because normally we said and expected him just to be back on the other side of the next international break, but it could be that in the last week before the international break he could be involved at some point. So it looks definitely okay with him.
Good stuff. And then obviously lunchtime kick-off this weekend, so it gives you a chance to go top. In terms of the standards so far at the top of the division, what have you made to it so far? Obviously another win for Sunderland in midweek. They're on 25 points. I mean, are you almost braced for this? Could potentially be another season like last season where you have ridiculous points tallies at the top like we had last season, where even 90 wasn't enough.
Yes, that's right, and you never know how many points you will need in the end of the season. So the best solution is always to win as many as possible, and this is also what we're trying to do. So for me, I've spoken about this several times. Each and every game is important, and even in the starting period of the season, it's important to bring yourself into a good position. The table will be made from November till March. That's more or less what is crucial in this league. But obviously, to bring yourself into a good position is always priceless. Is what we're trying to do. And obviously, also with 2-point average at the moment, we're pretty pleased. But there are also strong teams out there, some impressive results, and you never know who is really up there when it comes down to the crunch time period from game day 40 on, when it's April and May. So for that, we are not addicted too much to have a look on the table. Yes, of course, it's nice if you would be after a game top of the league, or you're in the top 2. It's always good for the mood. But the most important topic at the moment is more like the point tally, and this is where we're on a good way. And for that, we have to make sure, yes, that we deliver performances. This is also what we've did in the last weeks. And this is also what we're trying to do in going forward.
So good luck Saturday.
Thank you.
Daniel, just with regards to everything you said to Catherine about Joshua's qualities, clearly there was a lot of homework had to go into this, and obviously he wasn't the only player you were looking at. So what was the sort of process when you realised, when you got the scan back about Ilya? Did you sort of immediately get presented with possibilities by the analysts? Was it a case of thinking about the players you already knew, or how did it work?
Well, it was a pretty complicated situation, obviously, because actually it was not our plan to sign a player in October. If we would have been interested in Joshua to bring him in, then we probably would have signed him already in May or in June. That's the honesty. But when there is something happen like this, so 2 of your main players who have played more or less each every second in the last months are out for several months just within a few days, and you have to be a bit creative, and obviously, yes, we have our scouts who try to prepare also for such a scenario and are prepared. Then they're doing a really good job. But you also have to use a bit your network, or the network of experienced key people who are around this. What we've tried to do, because you have to be open in order to bring the best solution in. And it's more or less the first thing was to speak about the profile of the player we wanted to bring in. That was not too complicated because it was obvious which type of player we needed. We also spoke about more or less which type of character we want to bring in, and also what he would need to accept his role, that he accepts also his role once our club captain Isna Padu comes back. It could also be that he's not in the spotlight anymore, and we also wanted a player who is not just out there in order to be greedy to play each and every minute. He also should understand his role a bit like a mentor and a cover, and someone who improves also our young players. We have many young players. We wanted this type of character. Not just as an assistant coach anyhow, he should still be greedy to show each and every day that he should play. So we needed this balance, but for that we wanted then really an experienced guy, because we have also pretty young side. Yes, and out of this, we had then a few candidates, and then was up like to check about their physical conditions and also to speak to them. Also wanted someone here who is also affordable and not just here because of the money. And then most important also like to speak to him about his role and what we expect, and also to do lots of research with his former teammates, his former managers about his character, how he behaves there, because in one or two conversations everyone can be really nice, but we also wanted someone to bring in when perhaps the sun is not shining, that his behavior is then also like a proper teammate and shows then a real character. And this is also what we've experienced about Josh, and for that we checked a few candidates and a few options, and right now we had the decision that we wanted Josh, and he wanted to come as well, and that was more or less the process.
And obviously you didn't want it to come about this way, but have the last few weeks been a useful lesson to some of the players in the squad, thinking of players like Isaac and Joffrey, who haven't had many opportunities, that the door can open unexpectedly at any moment and you just have to be ready at all times?
Yes, of course. So it's, of course, a bit easier for more experienced players who have experienced such a situation a bit more often. But this is how professional football works. So once you're not playing or you don't get the minutes you would like to have, you have to stay professional. You have to stay positive. You have to prepare yourself for the moment when there is a chance. And the chance is not easy to grab, because you have to use it sometimes without being in a rhythm anyhow, and you just get this one or two chances, and you have to grab it. And for that, you have to stay positive. You have to prepare yourself in the best possible way. Best example is, for example, our midfielders. When I think about Ayo after he joined us, or Joe Roswell after he joined us, so they had to wait a little bit, but right now everyone singing their praise and singing their names, and they are pretty much in the spotlight. You have to make sure that you're ready. So if you're a football professional, it's not like, okay, you can expect it's easy and you play each and every minute. You also have to prepare when the sun is not shining. And this is more or less a good lesson also for everyone in the squad, but also for everyone in professional football. It works like this, yes.
Hi, just one on Archie Gray, if I could, who got a full game for Tottenham last night. Some talk about sending him out on loan because he hasn't had much football since his move. One, would you, any chance at all that he could reappear here at some point? The two, just on the wider point, when you go, players go to one of the top 6-7 clubs, what are the dangers involved there in terms of them stockpiling players and restricted opportunities?
Well, my rule, I don't speak about players who are under contract for other clubs. I've spoken so much about Archie and his skills and what I think about him once he was my player and our player, and once he was here. I'm a bit reluctant to do any comments on players who are not under contract anymore. Obviously, that our fingers are crossed for Archie and for his whole career. There's no doubt about this, and if you want some recommendation, be sure that he has also my telephone number, and he has already also asked a few times anyhow, but I keep it really pretty private what I would recommend. But in general, it's always a big challenge if you join a top 6, top 8 club on Premier League level. There's always lots of competition. There are top class players in this in these positions, and there are players who are signed for incredible money and all want to play. And you are there with a squad of whatever 30 players, and just 11 can start a game. So I didn't expect, for example, also for 18-year-old young player that he comes from the second tier and takes a Premier League and also a club who aims for the top 6 positions by storm and replaces everyone, and he's from then on the main man. I think Archie has impressed also, like how far I can judge it, also like in the beginning of the season. In pre-season he was also involved in several Europa League games, but it's not up to me to judge about his performance, what has happened. And I also don't want to speculate after he has just left us anyhow. So right now, when he returns back or whatever, so you all know how much I like Archie and how much I believe in him and his skills. But I don't want to take part in any speculations, and also don't want to give any recommendations to other clubs what they have to do, or speak about the performances of other players. I think it wouldn't be classy to do this, but obviously also for the whole career of Archie, our fingers are crossed, and also for his brother, by the way.
And just one on what you mentioned about Josh and the sort of mix of nationalities, including Irish, in the dressing room. I mean, that is part of modern football, I guess, but how much of a challenge is that as a manager to find those commonalities between people of very different cultures, nationality? I mean, what do you do? Halloween parties? How do you bring people together, just on a human level?
No, I tell you what, so I think football can be a role model also for our society. It's more like not too complicated to live together also peacefully in the world. So I don't believe too much in passports, and to be honest, to have a good spirit within the group and the good connection and the good togetherness is always crucial. It was the key to be successful 30 years ago. It will be also the secret to be successful in 30 years. You need a proper relationship together and a great spirit, but this has nothing to do with the passport. So there are also different type of guys and different characters, although they have the same passport. And sometimes a guy from South America is pretty close to a guy who is more like Scandinavian. Perhaps you wouldn't expect naturally that they're so close together, but it's always I think important to have good principles there. We're also working on this. So, for example, once we are together as a group, so it's not like we would allow Ilan and Josh, for example, to talk too much in French, or once we're together with the group. So, of course, we make sure that everyone understands what we're talking about. So we just speak English in the dressing room and don't start to speak in French and German. And I know, so sometimes to get the Irish accent away is sometimes a bit difficult, but I even ask sometimes Henry to speak a bit slower, that I understand him a little bit better. So to make sure that we're all have a good understanding and good conversations and stick together. And of course also the young and the old, sometimes you can also make a joke out of it and play a bit game, the British guys against the guys from abroad, but just in a jokey way to lift the mood a little bit. Or you play sometimes young against old in training when there's time to do this. I think a good spirit and the good togetherness on the training pitch and in the dressing room is quite important, and even more important when it comes down to the games. But I have to say this group is also pretty special in this terms, and it's a joy to work with them. It's really an easy task for me.
Thanks everyone.
Good. Thank you.